Alright guys, hello and welcome back. It's time for the finals for the North American Challenger Cup. It's been a long 8 weeks, but it's hi-5 and Yomi finding themselves victorious overall with invites to the SPL qualifiers. Back in the semifinals, hi-5 took game 1 and 2 of the semifinal matchup against COG Crusaders in pretty quick fashion. Game 3, COG Crusaders did their best to turn things back around, and in a 50-plus minute game, or unfortunately for them, not able to do so. So it was hi-5 moving on to the finals to face off against Yomi.
And now we're going to see Yomi up against hi-5, the final crowning chapter. Whoever wins this will have the opportunity to face enemy esports. The loser of this will face up against Cognitive Gaming for their shot at the Pro League, which will be happening in the next couple of weeks. But picks and bans going on right now, Zyden. Let's see what we got coming through.
Yep, Amir Athena banned off the table by hi-5. Yomi taking Isis and Al Kwang off the table as well. And these may be backwards. I heard there's a lot of concern about the Gillies Al Kwang, but it's being banned out by Yomi, so not entirely sure. Some people said these were backwards early on. Not entirely sure what the case, but nevertheless, Bellona gonna be the first pick in for hi-5.
Bellona's a big pick about Kwang, as you can see, was banned. Ratatoska is available, not been chosen just yet so far, which is quite surprising. Take into account as well, though, the meta has swung around and they've had a little bit more time than they should have to actually manage to pick up some strategies and work out what's good and what's great in the current meta. But what we're starting to see in this meta right now, Zyden, is that we're looking towards mid-late game all the time. There is no early game snowball anymore, so those early game gods that may give you a bit of early game aggression may help you out in the phase, but it's not going to get you the end of the game. So you're looking to late game, you're looking for the Scyllas, which we've seen already, you're looking for the high damage dealers that are great late game.
Yeah, right now, jungler being thought about by Yomi, Medusa, and Agni were locked in the side of hi-5 alongside that Scylla and Sylvanus, like you said. It's going to be Batz locked in once again. We saw some pretty good play coming out of jungle so far today. Batz, that Fear will be able to set up those fights, going to answer back in a big fashion against some of that damage coming out on the side of hi-5. It should work out pretty well for these guys. And again, it's an ultimate that transitions very well into the mid and late game. It can set up fights early on as well, but late game Batz can start to really hurt.
Yeah, Batz can hurt a lot in the game, so let's see how he can do. I mean, late game, like you said, he has the potential for that. How you banned away, though, by hi-5, they don't want to have to deal with that one. Obviously, they'd already picked up their hunter in Medusa, and what people are seeing is he's very, very strong late game, and that's where his potential comes from. And there's a Xbalanque pickup for the boys of Yomi. Not a surprise there, very late game once again, and that's what we're going to start seeing more and more.
This will be interesting. There's currently a hover over on Ares. Ares, the past couple weeks, has not had the best performances. You start to fall behind in the early game, things can go very wrong very quickly.
However, the thing with Ares right now in the current meta, you don't necessarily have to go Hand of the Gods, which we were seeing nowadays on supports, which means you can go Blink, you can go things like Weakening Curse, as well as a Blink, and Ares goes for Shoes of the Magi, which gives him penetration, which gives him even more damage, and he can actually be very, very effective with that.
And with the kind of snowballing slowed down a little bit, it's not so much a case of you have to look for early game aggression and get things rolling immediately. And even if you do want to look for that and put some real big pressure in the dual lane, if it doesn't work out in your favor, you're not going to fall behind very, very quickly and then kind of be just useless for the majority of the game. Things go wrong once or twice early on, yeah, it's not an ideal situation, but you're not out of the fight by any means.
Not at all. And the one thing I like about the composition from hi-5 here is they have multiple ways to burn beads. Medusa ult can burn it, Agni stuns will force it to, Ares obviously with the no escape, and then to follow all that up after all those beads have been forced, Fenrir can start picking targets and bringing them to the danger zone. Bakasura was the last pick there. It's been a while since we've seen the young whippersnapper.
One of Bakasura's biggest advantages in that soul lane is the fact that level 5 hits, he used the Hand of the Gods on the archers, hit level 5, hit your opponent, all in them, and more or less get a free kill. With the change to Hand of the Gods, and Bakasura pretty much not picking it up period anymore, that little bit of a power spike is more or less gone. It comes more towards late game. You have a decent early game laning phase, but you still do true damage with the Butcher Blades, you do AoE damage, you have a big slow, and you have those lovely little regurgitated minions to kind of help you out in the middle of a fight as well.
Well, guys, there are the two teams. hi-5 up against Yomi. Winner will advance to face off against enemy. Loser will face off against Cognitive. It's a best of 3. We'll be back after this short break as we get ourselves loaded in and find out how the game's going to unfold.
All right, guys, hello and welcome back. It is time for the finals of the North American Challenger Cup. Hindu Man's going to be joining me for this one. It's hi-5 to face off against Yomi.
So early wards already come down, as you can see at the start of the screen. As the minions just spawning now. We saw some defensive ones coming out from Yomi. On the left, though, hi-5 did get some early wards down in the jungle to see where the rotations are starting. And look what hi-5 are doing here. They're going to start the mid-harpies. And the start of this game right now, Zayden, is all up in the air about what the best route of decision-making is. This from hi-5 could be back those harpies and then contest blue buff, which is what they might be trying to do.
We have not seen much in the way of invades these days. Xbalanque did pick up the Rage of the Gods, however, so the steal potential is very much real. They're going to leap on in and look for this in just a couple more seconds. Damage, my theory, very low, could be first blood. Will sneak away, but they're going to get this buff.
One hit from Def. He will survive with less than 13 HP, Zayden. Now they're going to go aggressive onto Gilly, though, and that stun's going to connect. And that should be a free kill as Bludgeon connects from Xbalanque. And hi-5 get themselves first blood.
hi-5 out of the gates, looking to establish control of this game, and did exactly that. Not only did they force Materia back, but they got the first blood and that jungle buff stolen away. So they're very much in control of the solo lane right now. Mid lane, Jiminy Glick took a little bit of poke coming out from Unrelinquished, but otherwise, already ahead on levels. Level 3 up to opposed to level 2 and 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good start for them, but it's like we said, as this game goes on, there's not a hard snowball anymore. The first blood is still worth the most gold of any kill that you're going to find, so that's a good effect. However, it's not going to be as effective going forward in the next couple of kills. Like, you're not going to get really massively further ahead by it. What you'll only do to get ahead is manage to deny experiencing gold to the laner from not being in lane.
Yeah, Gilly's definitely going to be forced to lose a little bit of farm. The next wave or two, he can try and sneak in as much as possible, but he doesn't have any AoE attack. And look at El Chapu immediately brutalized, chunking Gilly down to below half health, even with Eat Minion coming in the middle of that.
Yeah, just trying to keep the pressure on to Gilly in this lane. Now that he's got this advantage, and there's no blue buff available for Gilly, remember, we're not going to see Bluestone Pendants anymore in that solo lane. So, people having to rely on the blue buff once again.
Diving the tower, taking the tower shot, but just keeping that pressure on to Gilly. He's going to hit level 5 probably on this next minion wave.
Could be this wave, yeah.
He has the beads, so he will be able to pop out of the Ragnarok, but still, it's going to be a bit of extra damage, and you don't want that beads on cooldown because the Ragnarok will be off cooldown sooner than those tier 1 beads.
Checking with the duo lane, you can see the pressure coming out from hi-5 once again. Medusa and Ares definitely have great fighting potential in this lane. And you can also see, you know, across the way, we're seeing Vesalius. He's going for the Devour's Gauntlet. It's kind of standard on Xbalanque just because of how he plays out. When you use the bowler to wave clear the poison, you're going to get minion aggro quite often. So you generally want that sustain.
Yeah, it definitely helps things out. It'll be a little slower, a little bit rougher on the mana side of things. However, that sustain is very much going to help against Nantan's Medusa. No matter how well you try and play the lane, once they get in a 1v1 situation, you're going to occasionally eat an accidental acid spray poke from that Medusa. It's going to help stabilize things, and once that lifesteal's online, as long as he doesn't commit to any trades, he's not going to have to worry about Nantan trying to force a 1v1 all-in.
And Ginny try to make a big play over on this left-hand side here. They're looking for Met Yankee or Xbalanque. Both in position for this one, but they know something's up right now. Xbalanque actually is going to wander into the lane as we also see Jiminy Glick rotate
right side. Solo lane fight going on. Gilly did pop that Regurgitate to answer back the Ragnarok, and to actually find him and grab him. Leap back to the Unchained. El Chapu gets the kill. Archer's still attacking Mytheria.
Monkey.
For one.
But he's going to actually use the Fenrir Weaver just to secure the kill. He didn't have to, I don't think. They could just run the monkey, but better safe than sorry. He picks up the kill in trade. And it's not going to work out too bad because that'll give him some free farm over on that right-hand side too.
Yeah, El Chapu did... the difference over there has kind of evened itself back out, despite being down 2 deaths already on the side of Gilly. He's more or less evened things out. Gold's still a little ways behind. A lot of that was just that first blood going on over to El Chapu. So, with that, things over there are going to be, something to watch. It's not the typical warrior slap fight solo in this game.
I think El Chapu's getting a good lead though right now, but an aggression coming out from Xbalanque again. They're looking for the invade onto the blue buff. His mid lane Ares aggressing onto Scylla. Xbalanque is doing work there. Xbalanque does pop the ultimate, but the Eagles rally connects, forcing beads out from Batz away. And the blue buff, well, it did go to hi-5 again.
Yep, they have that Rage of the Gods, and they are making good use of it so far. Every other game so far today, and very few games last weekend for the EU Finals, we saw almost nobody picking up the Hand of the Gods, Rage of the Gods, Wrath of the Gods. So, seeing it so far today for the first time, Xbalanque is, so far, at least in the first 5 minutes, making very good use of it.
They steal away the speed buff to do hi-5. That was really good work from them. 3-man rotation there to make sure they can secure that. Maybe potentially get a pick on a rotation. They might find something in mid lane here if they choose to fight, but it is only Brochacho and Agni here. So without Bellona being in the way as well, they're just going to probably back away for the time being.
Oh, right side.
That's been a problem.
Gilly in a bad spot. We're talking about those beads. Very long cooldown on those compared to the Ragnarok. El Chapu will drag Gilly back out. He tried to regurgitate and buy himself some time, but it was just not nearly enough. Elchpoo, going to be a part of his 3rd kill so far this match.
If anyone at home tuning in just now, this is the finals of the North American Challenger Cup overall. The top team will face off against enemy in for the chance to compete in the SPL next season in a couple of weeks' time. And on the side of that, the loser will face off against Cognitive Gaming to see if they can get their spot into the SPL 2.
Yep, it's going to be an interesting fight for these guys. They both have secured those spots, like you said. That's what they really came for, but it's down to that seeding. What team do they want to be up against? Well, if you have the choice, why not go for the team currently lower ranked in the SPL? With that, Game 1 is currently still underway. We're only 5.5 minutes into this one. Some items starting to come online. Devourer's Gauntlet's completed for Vesalius' Xbalanque. Medusa's being played by Nanton, finishing up that Transcendence. Traveler's Shoes online for both supports, and pretty much everyone else just went shoe shopping as well. Boots online all over the place.
We're going to see supports with hogless builds this time around, so that's why we've seen the weakening curse coming out from El Brochacho here. But left-hand side, Nanton might get picked here. Hasn't seen the rotation around the back as the Fear No Evil connects right on the backside. And that's going to dead Nanton. Nobody there to cover. No wall placements. Really good work, actually, from Yomi for that rotation. And very well executed.
I've been answered back a kill they very much need at this point in the game. Snowballing is a little bit less than it was, but you still don't want the other team just getting kill after kill as the game continues to progress. We'll speed buff up. They're going to share some experience in the mid lane before heading on over to pick that up. And otherwise, things more or less kind of, I don't want to say quiet so far. This is North America. We're seeing a little bit more action so far than we saw last week for EU. But both teams still kind of a little bit feeling each other out. High Five, though, definitely looking for a more aggressive approach to this early game.
Yeah, they're doing a good work, though, at High Five. I mean, to be honest, overall, this season, they've performed better than Yomi to an extent. They got themselves in a good spot. Had some ups and downs, though, in their play this season. And now that they've got a consistent roster trying to go for themselves, they've managed to make it through to this spot. Aggression from Elchpoo again, but this time, Batz is here.
Yep, Elchpoo up in that Ragnarok. Going to look to drag Matheria back to the tower. Going to make him take one shot before unchaining back to safety. Jiminy Glick as well as El Brochacho, though, on their way.
Yeah, Agni might be able to find the bomb there. Nope, leapt away. Does Mytheria away from the danger. And that's just to be a full reset for the time being. Bellona will just swing back mid, pick up that farm, and we're all good at 7 minutes in.
Yeah, they're making sure that there's no sneaky invade on the mana buff once again. They actually won't know for a little bit here that Grishank has in fact rotated over to the left side of the map. Mana buff will only just now start getting picked up by Yomi. It's going to be the first one of the game for Gilly. I'm sure he's very pleased to have that little bit of extra mana to work with for the next couple minutes.
I think the aggression's come out from High Five so far. They've stolen away a couple of buffs. They've managed to get a kill lead. But if you look at it, the golden experience isn't that big right now. Grishank does steal away purple, but Blinky from Brochacho counter-blinked by Met Yankee. An immediate disengage. Very well played by Yomi. Yeah.
They grab through the wall. Grishank in a bit of a bad spot. Does have the Eagle's Rally to jump away if he needs it. Fenrir dropped on down, but they're not really finding anything as Grishank actually goes in for a little bit more aggression. Pull onto Unrelinquished. Going to use the monster to avoid the pull.
Does, and the dunk from Scylla misses, and Met Yankee's going to be a casualty of war. Crush connects from Unrelinquished to lower them all down. Poison damage from Xbalanque. Can he find the kill? Well, he's going to jump in there, find one. Brochacho's trying to kill as many as he can before he falls down too. Now Nanton is surrounded by a Scylla, and Mytheria is going to get another.
Yep, they're trying to close out one or two more. Ragnarok does grab up Unrelinquished, but Elchpoo not in a great spot. Really can't look to continue that fight. The fight will end. 2 kills to 4 in favor of Yomi, yeah.
They get a lot out of that. Elchpoo used the teleport too, but he's going to go in his Elchpoo, but he gets baited into a bad fight. Trades 1 for 1. Whole team dead. And that was a delayed deicide for the most part. As High Five, they bit off more than they could chew there. It was all down to Unrelinquished crush play.
Yeah, they were looking for the bait on the left-hand side. Grishank was kind of like delaying, waiting for that buff, waiting for this. Like, come on, contest the buff. They went for the fight. The blink shackles did not quite connect off of Ares. They went, Grishank was really, really low. They had the opportunity for High Five to disengage. They just went for the fight, and it just kind of crumbled on the back of a couple people being low on health before it even started.
Who's checking in with both the builds of the supports as well at the moment. El Brochacho didn't go for the Shoes of the Magi, which we've seen coming out quite a little bit on the Ares just because of the actual extra penetration you get from that. Instead, he went for the full gold generation build, as did Sylvanus with those Traveler's Shoes. Both started to work on 70. Full blink now online for Brochacho, and you'll see him start trying to abuse that in this mid lane. And that's why he's just hanging around here looking for a blink initiation if he can find it.
And I think that as well, a little bit of different options up. Actually, there's a blink over the wall. Look for Unrelinquished. The shackles do connect. That means no little Sentinel teleport to get out of that one. Monster's up. Going to look for him to El Brochacho. Not quite going to find damage despite the little bit of a stop there.
They're still going though. Fear No Evil comes out. Brochacho is dead. Blinking from Met Yankee was there to secure it. Now Grishank's still trying to fight here. Got to be a little bit careful. Does have Eagle's Rally and a support from Jiminy, so he'll get away for the time being. But that once again was aggression from High Five that got turned on them.
Yeah, they have to be careful. They built a small little lead prior to this, but Yomi have since brought that back to even. It's about 100 gold difference right now. Experience is in favor of Yomi as well, so high five. That early aggression lead has since been answered by Yomi. They can definitely look to continue the aggression. They just have to realize the fact that they currently are not in control of this match completely.
Very hard to get full control of a game of Smite right now with the current meta. Experience only 1,000 lead right now in favor of Yomi this time, and that's generally what you'll see backwards and forwards throughout this. How the game is now is it's all about team fighting and winning the team fights well enough that you can commit and get objectives off the back of it. It's not about trying to farm and get big and get huge, because you're always going to stay that way now. You're generally looking to just push down objectives whenever you get an opportunity to do so.
For sure. Looking at the way these team fights, though, will start to play out a little bit later on. We've seen a couple times so far, Unrelinquished getting caught, being forced to use that I'm a Monster early on in the fight just to avoid those pulls from Ares. Beads are now online, however, so she won't have to use the ultimate before the fight really even starts. That may have been a little bit of a fat finger there by Grishank. We didn't see that. But right now, Matt Yankee getting caught, taking some damage.
Yeah, he is, and it's going to be a bit of a rough fight now as Brochacho's coming in there. I'm not sure if they're going to follow up with anything else. Oh, the pull nearly cleared to with Jiminy, not quite this time. Left harpies, though, going to go in favor of high five.
Yeah, so little bits here and there, making sure they get any golden experience across the map where they possibly can find it. Right side, the solo lane is kind of stabilized at this point. Neither one of those gods really has, they don't have kill potential, but they are both still assassins. But things more or less have stabilized. There's no more, haha, I can just all in you, more or less 100 to 0 you in the back of a full combo from myself. There's some buffs respawning. They're going to pick up the speed buff for high five.
Yep, going to pick up over there. Brochacho going to soak some experience once again. Level 9 for him. 2 levels down, though, on Met Yankee at the moment, who's having a little bit of a better game. He's managed to not get picked as often just yet, but that weakening curse still being worked on, as you'll see from Brochacho. He's delayed his sovereignty by going so heavily into his actives, though. So just keep an eye on that sovereignty being finished, which it is, by Met Yankee. So even in the team fights, he's going to be more sustainable for his team.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a double disadvantage as well for Brochacho's Ares. He's not getting that extra magical power off of his passive from that aura effect, so kind of a little bit of a double disadvantage from that. That said, the fights to start them up, he's been actually pulling people in, getting those, or forcing the ultimate special for Unrelinquished twice so far that we've seen. It's going to be a lot of damage, especially once that sovereignty's online, when he can properly be that frontline guardian that you're looking for Ares. Dish out the damage. Shackles and the Searing Flesh can do work in a fight.
Well, keep an eye on the Hand of the Gods situation too, because at the moment we've only got one in the game. That will become a Wrath of the Gods eventually, more than likely, for Grishank on this Bellona, because other than that, they're going to be looking at the mages for the burst damage to try and find it. Pull misses from Met Yankee, as does the root. They're going to turn their attention back onto him again. His initiation only hits Brochacho, and the rotation from Xbalanque is on its way. We may see a big fight of these right harpies.
Yeah, they might be looking to disengage. I know El Chapu's on his way over to this one. They're going to be grouping up, looking for a potential fight, but for now at least, both teams are just going to be staring down the mid lane at each other with not really much else going on. A full-on mid lane fight right now, especially with that Wrath Terror having already been burnt, Yomi probably don't want to have a fight right now.
I mean, Yomi, yeah, you're correct. Yomi don't want to fight because of the fact Sylvanus is down. They want to just back away. They managed to disengage, and high five kind of let them to an extent. They could have tried to force something. I guess they didn't like the opportunity for the fight. Obviously, fear no evil in a clustered environment is a risky thing to go for, as well as an I'm a Monster. They set up so easily for them.
They also weren't sure exactly where Gilly was coming in that jungle. You don't want Bakasura able to sneak his way to your backline and start shredding apart your hunters and mages and stuff like that. So, high five perhaps making the safer call, just backing off for the time being. They're looking to do a little bit of warding this left side jungle, start getting control over there, and possibly think about setting up a Gold Fury. It's definitely a point that can be contested with no vision right now. Nantan will spot this one out, but Yomi already well underway with the Gold Fury.
Well, let's see what we're going to see here, because at the moment we've already got a Hog too. We're going to be looking for burst damage. The Crush is down. He's on cooldown. I'm a Monster comes out, dunks it to secures it for Yomi, but then the pull in from Brochacho is good. The chains are applied, forcing the beads away. The tree is in the mouth. The tree is down. Brochacho running for his life as the damage from Bakasura forces him back again.
Yomi, we're able to sneak in that Gold Free. The disengage is currently on Materia, back under the tower. Nantan not going to be able to find that kill. It was 1 for 1, but the Gold Free went to Yomi. They more or less snuck that one in. Unrelinquished, though, bomb is good.
They stayed 1 for 1. Brochacho overextended on the left-hand side, and meanwhile we also saw Relinquished hanging around. El Chapu was chasing on to Gilly there, changed his mind, but now Xbalanque might try and collapse, but the boys of High Five are in tow, and Gilly might be caught out.
The bait, the trap around the wall, that's going to be a kill going on to Nantan on the back of that one as well. So High Five were able to kind of answer back to those little bit of a blunder, stuck around a little too long kills that Yomi picked up. Gold Fury still went the way of Yomi, taking a look at the golden experience graph. They're in control right now on both fronts. They have the experience lead already,
Yep.
and gold just shot in their favor with that gold fury having
Don't forget, Gold Fury, though, not as strong as it once was. It scales with time, so you get more
Yeah.
gold, more experience from it as the game goes on. So these early Gold Furies aren't as big of a swing as you'd once seen before. By this stage, it'd probably be up to about 1,500 lead. Now it's only 500.
That one's actually about 1,000 gold. So we're ready. 15 minutes in, it's 10 extra gold per minute. So it was around 1,000 gold. Still 500 less than it would have been just a week and a half ago. So nevertheless, Yomi going to be not in control of the match, but in the gold lead, in the experience lead. They're in the driving seat. Whether they take this game to victory or not, we'll have to find out how that goes in a little while.
Go 15 minutes in. This is kind of the stage of the game now where we start to see builds coming online. We're looking at 3-4 items where we're starting to see the penetration starting to kick in for mages, for example, as well as the solo lanes starting to get themselves built up too. Nice attempts on the pull from Met Yankee. Not going to find it though. They were clearly stood in a ward there, but Harpy's going to get contested and they're going to drop down in favor of Yomi there. But my theory could get caught out.
So with some sort of wall and get to the attack, the speed buff camp safely. Fear no evil was for, the Darks of Nights forced out off of Xbalanque. Gonna kind of force a reset, but El Muchacho's looking for the pull.
Great pull in. He's going to actually force Iron Monster and the Wrath of Terror as well. Monster has been used. Will she go for the dunk? She will, but not going to connect with it. No follow-up yet, though, from High Five. But right lane, at the moment, Gilly is getting some free farm. He's going to take a tower.
Yeah, that's an extra 500 gold in the bank for Yomi. I like the play Met Yankee did right there. He knew he was going to be pulled in. He knew he was going to be forced to use the Wrath of Terror. He went for a blink for, if I'm going to have to use it anyway, I may as well try and actually hit somebody with it. Didn't quite work out, but it was a nice little attempt coming out from him.
It looks like High Five want to fight mid, because if they don't, Gilly can push this right hand side. They know they're all still here. Met Yankee's going in aggressive, going to get picked up. Met Yankee is the focus, but keeping on the rest of the team. Oh, non-Tom with a fantastic Petrify that just hit so many members of the team, and High Five destroy them.
Yep, tier 2 tower. Gilly is looking for it, but will he be able to take him time to answer back? Unrelinquished, the only one left standing in the middle of the map. Brochacho wants this kill. Shackles mean you're not getting out of there anytime soon. El Brochacho picks up that kill. It's going to be a tier 1 tower. They can go for the tier 2 straight on after that. Teleport from El Chapu says,
teleport.
I don't want you getting that one.
Good teleport, but he's still going to get the tower. I think he'll be able to leap straight over the wall, but Elchapil will chase him down. Going to pop beads for cooldown, but it's not going to be enough just yet. Brutalize comes out looking for the kill. Going to find it. Gilly goes down. Mid lane, they get a Phoenix.
Yep, they're going to get it. Nobody is going to be respawned in
Big
time
swing.
to actually contest this one. That is a big play for High Five. Fire Minions coming out at the 17-minute, 30-second mark. And look at the pings already. They want to go to those right lanes, left lanes, get the buffs, look for those towers potentially as well. They're looking to capitalize on the little bit of lead they have and make
This
sure.
is what happens now, Zayden, in the meta. What you've got to do is you've got to get one good team fight and try and get as many objectives as possible. So they get 2 towers and a Phoenix in trade for their tier 2 tower and tier 1 tower, and trying to strip the jungle as well just to add to that. But those fire minions should make an impact.
Yeah, it's pretty early on. They're rough to kill at the best of times. Never mind this early on. So they're going to have to basically have someone sit there for pretty much a good while just to deal with every single wave of those for the next couple of minutes. High Five, meanwhile, they have that mid lane already pushing. We can group up. Let's go take the right lane tower. Let's take the left side tower. Those tier 1s, at this point in time, Yomi not very likely to defend them. So
I was surprised by the play from High Five actually in that mid lane as well, the tier 1, because they knew that Met Yankee didn't have his ultimate available. They used Ragnarok on him, and I was like, they're wasting a lot here. But Nonton's presence of mind to set them up with a Petrify when the team were trying to chase down, just turn that into an absolute stomping of an engagement. Force Yomi away. Really nicely played from High Five overall.
That's definitely the power of having all those ultimates to force crowd control. Fenrir, more often than not, when you have Fenrir without anyone really to work with him, he uses the Ragnarok, and it's immediately removed from him. In the case of Met Yankee, it was really only the Wrath of Terror that had an option, and even then, like, okay, so I used Wrath of Terror to avoid the first fight. He's just going to keep on trying and grab me anyway. And like you said, that led to that team fight victory overall by High Five. So just El Brochacho, we haven't seen any big pulls.
Talk about El Brochacho, he's in mid right now, trying to trade up all 3. Is on Unrelinquished here, then uses the ultimate as well. Not going to be able to pull in Unrelinquished thanks to the beads, but Met Yankee's still surrounded. Wrath of Terror comes out. There's a teleport coming in from Gilly on the backside too.
Unrelinquished up in the ultimate, looking for a possible kill. Gilly does get caught by the Petrify, trying to get back out. Not going to happen. Nanton picks up that kill over the wall. Unrelinquished, going to get bombed on the head and picked off by the passive from Agni for a kill.
starting to pick up speed at high five right now. You can see in the jungle right now, Elchapu happy to trade off with Mytheria, force the beads out on the monkey. Meanwhile, mid lane Grishank forcing them back with those fire minions, and that will be a free gold fury for high five.
Got more gold in the bank. Look at that graph. It was in favor of Yomi, both experience and gold. It has now since reversed itself in its entirety. High five sitting almost 5,000 gold in the lead. Just over 3,000 experience as well. Grishank not done yet. Locking down onto Matt Yankee. Might dull his sword there a little bit, but, you know,
good old
forced
passive.
him back a little bit.
Good old passive from Matt Yankee saves the day from being regressed on. They should be able to swing left though. They're going to try and take the tier 1 tower for free. Nobody here to really defend. Xbalanque can't go up against the whole team of high five at this stage, but maybe, just maybe, they'll look for the tier 2 defense throughout.
And I still have the power play unrelinquished, only just now respawning. Mana bars are starting to look a little worse for the wearer. Elbow Chacho almost empty right now. You see them kind of backing off a little bit. Maybe try and find a couple of buffs in the jungle, but there's really not much there at the moment. Golden Hand though. They have enough to pick up a tier 2 of items. They choose to go back to base right now.
Yeah, they probably will do as well. I mean, there's only red buff up in the jungle for them to really take. Some of them don't need to go back if they don't want to, so they can just go do back harpies for the time being. Got to keep it a little bit of an eye. Do high five on this right-hand side here. Is that tier 2 tower being down? It is a threat of a backdoor potential from Gilly available for that. He can throw down his regurgitate and actually force the minions to tank the tower shots for a little while, which could potentially help him out.
Yep. So right now, Yomi are trying to get what they can out of the jungle. They're not out of this one yet by any stretch of the imagination. It's all going to come down to, can they get the good initiations on their own terms? With both Fenrir as well as Ares, they have very strong initiation by high five. You know, Bellona as well with that Eagles rally jumping forward. It's how are Yomi going to respond to these fights? We saw Matt Yankee before, the Blink Wrath of Terror trying to kind of counter the no escape initiation by Ares. It's going to be, can they counter engage these fights properly? High five are not really
chipping away and going for Gilly on this right hand side now. Leap is already on cooldown. The engage from Brochacho and Grishank at the same time, followed by the made you not look at me thingy from Nonton, also known as Petrify, brings him down, and that's gonna be a 4v5.
Yep, right-hand side, looking for this tier 2 tower. Mytheria taking a couple bombs from Agni for a little bit of damage as they turn their attention now to the tower. Will they look for initiation? Vesalius is on his way. Unrelinquished, though, is left dealing with those minions in the mid lane. They don't want that Phoenix to fall to those fire minions a second time.
Oh, it will. It will, because you can see Elchapu sat here trying to push it in. The fire minions do not go down to a full crush. The team's rotating for this now. And high five will take away the speed buff and potentially look for the fire giant here.
It's an option. They're going to look possibly instead to fight on this one. They're standing on the wards. They know this is a little bit of a bait right here. They're going to go straight on in anyway. There's a Dark Nice, drop them down. Bomb as well. Albertacho looking for the fold. Does find Met Yankee.
Only Met Yankee, though. I'm a Monster connects on the backside to Grishank, who's very low, who walks as Inferno Evil. Does manage to disengage, though. Nonton, though, trying to do what he can on the backside, support his teammate, but the good beats by Mytheria make sure he secures Grishank. Met Yankee still surrounded, tanking up a storm, as Nonton is surrounded by the rest of the team. He was overextended, trying to support his teammate. The leap out from Mytheria once again, going to save the day, but Gilly is here.
Yep, looking to clean up house right now. It's looking like it's going to be Elchapu falling as well. That's 4 kills for 1. Yomi winning the fight. Yeah.
Bad engagement from high five there. They knew the ward was there, and it didn't work out for them. They had a 4v5 opportunity, and they picked the wrong targets for the most part. They were focusing on the tree.
Yeah.
Why focus the tree? He's not even got Hug 3 anymore.
They had the potential to go for that bait anyway, but as soon as they went to clear that ward, they stepped into vision of that. That should have been the red flag. Okay, they know we're here. We just stepped on the ward we're trying to actively clear. Look at it. Just a couple seconds ago, high five, we're in contention, in control of that fire giant potentially. Yomi are looking to take it themselves right now. Jimmy Glick is on his way, but it's looking like he may not even arrive in time.
Gilly nearly went down to the fire giant, and that was really risky. They will get the fire giant, though. I don't think we're going to see Jiminy get there in time, and we will not. Maybe he'll catch Gilly, though, if he was lucky. Not today, he won't, unfortunately. So fire giant goes to Yomi, which will keep this game going a little bit longer now.
Yep, it's going to buy them time. It didn't quite even things out. It kind of stopped the bleed. Experience is actually almost back to even right now, but the gold is still telling a little bit of a different tale. Still 4.3 gold in the lead for high five, excuse me. Looking at the items coming online as well, some big key things. Crit just about to start coming online for those hunters and the junglers as well. Kinsai is picked up for Grishank, doing a lot more damage with that, as well as crit starting to come online from Ethereum as well on that Hun Batz.
It's 18 to 14 now. Gold lead is relatively not as high as you normally expect, 4,500. Experience, though, is pretty much even.
Yeah. So when these teams look to go forward in this one, we saw a little bit of a misstep by High Five. It happened a little bit earlier as well. High Five perhaps getting a little bit too cocky with the lead they are picking up for themselves. I think that's one of the biggest problems we've seen out of these guys so far in the Challenger Cup. They get a little bit of a lead, think they're a lot further ahead than they actually are, and then they overplay their actual situation in the game.
Well, left-hand side, you can see what Yomi are trying to do. 4-man group and looking for this tier 1 tower, get some global gold back for themselves as well. Lower this gold lead that we've got hi-5 on. Gilly in the jungle may get picked. He's not seen behind him just yet. He's been spotted now, though, and spots them in response. Brochacho leading the way, going to blink past Yankee back to tower defense range.
They're going to try to hold on to this tier 2. We don't see it happen all that often, as hi-5 looking to collapse on in right now. Immediately going to be forced back off as Yomi look to force them back. Brochacho only chains on Vesalius, not going to find the pull.
I'm a monster going to connect though, and that's going to put a lot of damage down to Brochacho, who will fall to Met Yankee. Grishang with the Eagles running the front line for protections. Crush on the back from Unrelinquished though, connects after a fantastic second. And now it's Yomi that are the ones on assault one more time here. They're going to get a tier 2.
It's a power play 3 versus 5 going forward. Those health bars are still more or less full. Met Yankee a little worse for wear, but between both the Wisps and that Fire Giant buff, that health bar is rapidly refilling right now. Jiminy Glick and Nanton don't want to let them have this Phoenix, but they may not have any say in the matter.
They will not have a say in the matter. It's going to drop down in half a heartbeat of a second. 25 minutes into this one now, and Yomi on the warpath all of a sudden.
Yeah, but very much turned this game back around. Look at that gold. It's just about back to even. They have now established control of the experience side of the graph as the tier 1 mid will fall. Gold now going to be in favor of Yomi as they now look for the tier 2 as well. El Chapu still 10 plus seconds off respawn.
Yankee doesn't find that pull on Jiminy. It was so close though. Minions piling in. Yankee can tank this up for his team though after the Wisp usage too. Fire Giant still online for the whole team, so they'll bring it down nice and quick. Will they look for another engagement? Well, it's Grishang who's got in on Unrelinquished.
Fear no evil using that Eagles rally, trying to do what he can. I'm a monster connects onto Brochacho for a good chunk of damage. El Chapu teleporting behind enemy lines, looking to come on in, but the fight already. Yomi finding a first kill.
And Grishang gets pulled back in, not going to live for the time being though as he leapt on to Buy My Theory. Meanwhile, not to losing the trade up against Xbalanque. He'll fall down to El Chapu late to the point with that teleport to the backside. Still looking for Unrelinquished, not going to find it, but Gilly will go on the Wolf.
That's the triple coming out from Etheria as they now look for the mid lane Phoenix. One's already down that left lane. Minions are approaching. It is shy of an absolute miracle defense coming out right after Jiminy Glick. He has that AoE damage, but realistically, it's not going to do a whole lot. Wrath of Terra pop down. They're looking for the kill on him, pulling him back in. He's going nowhere fast. Falls. That's the deicide as the Titan falls as well. Game 1 going to be taken by Yomi.
And what we were just saying before this game even started, Zayden, is that how the meta is right now is like you don't really have a substantial lead where you have lost the game and you have to F6 anymore. The snowball is not real anymore. So what you have to do is rely on very good team fights for the whole period of the game. hi-5 did very well early. Yomi came back into it, and then hi-5 took the lead again. But then one really bad team fight cost them so much around that Fire Giant that just swung this game completely back in Yomi's favor, and they abused the Fire Giant correctly. They got the Phoenixes and they kept fighting with the Fire Giant buff.
Yeah, we'll see Game 2 if Yomi can do a repeat of Game 1, take the series in a 2-0 sweep, or if hi-5 can answer back and take us all the way to the ace match and look for first place victory for themselves. We'll find out exactly what happens here in Game number 2 in just a few.